RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. We are live for a Monday night live stream. It is the 21st day of the month of December. Excited to be back and willing and wanting to connect with the community. So hope everyone's doing well. And of course, most important subject matter of the evening happens to be the current bill that's being talked about right now as we speak amongst the politicians on trying to butter up the last amount of their constituents they need to get this thing passed. And after diving deeper into it, as well as getting a chance to see a lot of articles and whatnot shared about some of the things inside of that bill, really shines more light as to how it's a desperate attempt by corporations as well as government to really further their agenda and to label it as a relief package for the people. Even though social media right now is a lot of people are pissed at the idea of just getting 600 amongst all the other pork bill type things that's attached in there. So we're going to talk about that as well as get a chance to hear whatever else is on your mind. So welcome to the live stream. Let me check in via chat and then we'll dive right in. As always, any new viewers to the community, let me know where you're watching from. We'll love to acknowledge your presence and welcome you to the tribe. So let me make sure everything is running smoothly on my end here. Then we're going to dive right in. So we got S400 in the building. We got Patrick, all pork. We got, what else we got? We got Denzi here. We have, what else over here? We got Tony B in the building. We got Crypto Sovereign, D Churn, Charon, if I'm not mistaken, BC Matrix. Thanks, Jay. We got Desert, Dexter Dave, Kenneth G. Okay. How's everybody doing, man? Hope everyone's doing well. And I thought I would just start off by sharing with you a a little photo or whatever you want to call it. It really highlights the point I'm trying to get across tonight. And so here's something I grabbed off Twitter, which summarizes the entire HR bill. And so as you see, it's a big, huge sandwich, or that's not even a sandwich, but as you can see, the top of the bun is the American families, supposedly. And foreign aid and special interests is the substance of this entire package. And then at the bottom, maybe that's the bottom bread or the bottom meat, it's concerns for the small businesses. So let's get into some of the filler of what this whole pork bill is all about. And I'm sure you guys are going to find it very entertaining, as well as if you guys have any sources or any extra material that you want to add, feel free to put it in the chat and we can definitely touch on it. And so, yeah, man, it's interesting. And as of right now, as I was looking through the bill, I'm actually going to pull the bill up here. 5,593 pages of just stuff. And, it's bad when you got AOC out there on Twitter today being very active, basically calling out all her constituents, saying, who knows what's in this thing? And like we know from prior bills, you have to pass it in order to find out what's in it. But for some reason, I'm not sure, it's probably just me, but with the way social media and the way you have some Democrats as well as Republicans that may not be too excited as more things come to the light, it's going to be hard. It will be hard for a lot of them to jump on board and sign this thing into law, not really knowing what the full contents of it is, other than a lot of special interests as well as government programs that unfortunately will not benefit the people whatsoever. But whoever wrote this, 5,593 pages, definitely, as I always said before, that entire package was probably rewritten. It's probably the HEROES Act with a few additional pages added in and whatnot. So I got an article here talking about Bill Gates even did a little lobbying himself to get some vaccine stuff up in there. And then you have all the other agendas in various countries around the planet that are all in there as well. So Dexter Day says, Mike, did each Israeli get 5,000? I'm not quite sure. I didn't have a chance to read all 5,000 pages. I only got to about 3,000 so far. That's like, I'm just kidding. But it's good to say Israel's probably getting some funds. So let's leave it at that. But it's one of them things where the Israeli people won't get it, but it'd be the Israeli governments and all them special agencies and all that type of stuff. But let's dive into it, man. So I want to actually pull up on the screen here. And like always, we won't have, no one's going to go through it. No one's going to go through this thing at all. And that's why I actually believe it may not get passed. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And so just to go far out there and say this whole bill here, if it was to get the type of attention which is getting right now in the mainstream media, as far as all the extra things in there that has nothing to do with the American people, there is a possibility that this thing may not get passed, or it may get prolonged and stalled. And of course, the markets will respond unfavorably to that. So because a lot of politicians might feel obligated to low key sign, like to latch on to this thing, but just thumbing through it briefly, man. Here's the first page. Given insights, let me pull this up on the screen here. And so, table of contents. This thing has so many sections, titles, articles, you name it. Agriculture, farm production, rural development. We got domestic food programs. We got foreign assistance and related programs. We got related agency, Food Drug Administration, general provisions, Department of Commerce, Department of Justice, Science. I mean, they threw in everything, and they got military personnel, operation and maintenance, general provisions. So amongst all these things in here, not a single politician within the last since this morning, or since last night rather, and today at 2:00, I think this bill is actually put out there. No one has gone through it. And just to give you an idea of what's in there, I actually came across some articles today that I thought was worth sharing. And so here's one here where it talks about Bill Gates led the effort to get $3.36 billion into this deal to help vaccinate the world's poor. And so once again, I would assume whoever extracted that particular information out was probably definitely doing some speed reading, or they probably highlighted some coronavirus type things. And so just the fact, we know Bill Gates is trying to, not only use his own funds, but if you can use your own government's funds, that saves you a couple of dollars. And so this doesn't surprise me whatsoever. And it's just a matter of like, okay, now that this is mainstream subject matter, will some of the politicians get a little pressure to rethink this sign, putting their name on this bill when they know their constituents will not be too happy with them. And so here's an idea as to what's, let me actually pull this up here. Here's another article. Nope, this is the wrong one. Let me go to the page here. And so let me dive in deeper. So I put the articles up on Rethinking a Dollar. And so if you guys go over there, you can see all types of things, but give you an idea what's inside. Let's go. This was an article put out by Zero Hedge earlier. And just on the surface, this is what we're being told. This is some of the highlight points, which is the same things they've been talking about since, the bipartisan bill from, was it a month ago? And so a lot of the same things, direct payments of $600, which of course, and that's what makes it even worse, is the fact that this $600 that they decided to add in, according to what I read, it was literally like, Bernie Sanders and his crew are the ones that really pushed for something for the people. Like, it's one of the things where it's going to be hard to sell the people that it's for them without giving them something. And so here we have 9 months after the fact, a possible total of $1,800 per person, give or take, the financial situations and whatnot. And I've seen posts throughout the Twitter sphere where people are talking about what Canadians are getting, what Europeans are getting, what Australians are getting. And of course, 9 months, $1,800 per person, give or take, the child situation is completely despicable. But I'm not surprised, because all this is not about you. It's not about me. It's about the entities that it's included in these pages that we know nothing about. But we got $300 per week of enhanced unemployment, $284 billion for payment, the PPP program, of which that last round was a complete sham. It did not get to where it's supposed to go. And even if it got to the businesses that needed it, what's the point of keeping people on a payroll if you can't even open your doors? So, more funny business. Education program, $82 billion, $10 billion for childcare, $15 billion for grants and theater operators, $25 billion in rental assistance. So once another thing is an extension of the moratoriums. So once again, not solving the problem, kicking it down the road further to where it only compounds the issues that we have. Like just the fact that everything's set to expire. I think the student loan situation is one thing that has not been addressed, so that will expire. So there's going to be buku students or former students out there that's going to be left with a hefty price tag. At the same time, the entire workforce and employment model was changing. But yet when it comes to the moratoriums, not able to solve the last 8 months. So we got 8 months of back pay, back rent, back more, all that back stuff that's going to be compounded upon this year going into 2021. And according to everything we're being given here, this current package is only good until March 31st-ish. And so literally just trying to paper over as best they can. And it's not until they actually get serious and try to at least pretend, at least, try to make it look like you care about the people. Throwing that $600 that's supposed to cover the last 8 months as well as the upcoming 3 months is literally a slap in the face to the American public. And of course, I think this plays into the reason why, as I've said before, based upon the way the American people are being treated now by the people they put in office, whether it be in the House or the Senate, it's going to be hard for those people to ever really think about getting reelected this next go round unless things get extremely bad. But because American people have been done so bad and treated so poorly in this whole relief package, it's good to say a lot of those politicians will not get voted in again. But that plays into the fact that I think that as time moves forward, the conditions in this country politically will become even that much more worse off, to where there may not be an election of the normal kind moving forward. So that's just the worst case scenario. But let me stop ranting here. Let me check in via chat. What else is going on out there? Appreciate everybody for hanging out with me. Get started a little bit sooner tonight. Wanted to check in and open up the phone line sooner and get your thoughts on this. But yeah, let's dive into some of the situations that are not a part of the relief package for the American people. It says, so Israel gets billions and Americans get 600. I got it. It says, bro, I got Murrows. You can't break it. I see. What else we got here? It says, I wish I had dual citizenship. Low blood pressure. A lot of people wouldn't mind having the option of being able to opt out of this country as it crumbles. And and so that's on another thing is as far as those that are even considering attempting and wanting to leave, like between now and June, July might be that last window of opportunity, because definitely by next summer, when that whole vaccine stuff is fully out there, I think at that point, as a result of the airlines getting this next couple months of funds, they're going to be even pressured. They're going to be pressured even more to roll out those QR code pass things and go beyond just the mere PCR testing to where they're going to require you to have that piece of paper to say you've got certified. And so that's the window of time for those that are considering it. S400 says, did you hear or see the hearing on the Sackler family? I did not, S400. Let me know what's that all about, because I'm not familiar with that. Thanks, Jay. Says I'm gonna spend my 600 on the most ignorant stuff I can buy. I was thinking about that earlier. Any funds that comes from the government at this point is literally, it's two ways to look at it. If people who really knew how bad things were and how much worse it's going to get moving forward, then this is basically like an opportunity for you to take those little bit of crumbs and put it into something that will serve you well. And ideally, if you're not one of the people that's financially hard strapped where you need it for your mere survival now, my personal opinion and what I plan on doing is literally looking at things that excites me that will act as wealth preservation tools moving forward. And so, of course, you got the basic things, your basic life necessities, your food, water, shelter. Once all that stuff is taken care of to the best of your ability or to where you feel comfortable, then at that point it's more so just an investment game. Like, what are you going to do to help grow those funds? Because ultimately, even though they're crumbs, those crumbs have a chance to grow. And a lot of the things that do excite me, man, I'm really confident that at any moment now, silver is going to really make that move in a very favorable way, because silver, based upon the actions that's happened over the last 24 hours, with the markets opening this morning and silver shooting up beyond 27, but immediately being shot down, lets me know how much of a dangerous metal silver is to being able to control this current transition. Because I think, gold is important, of course, but gold has already made its rally, and it's made its rally. It was hard to suppress the price of gold overall, because 1 ounce of gold has already reached and surpassed all-time highs in every single currency primarily on this planet, except some of the G7 nations. But silver, on the other hand, has not reached its all-time high in many currencies at all, because of how suppressed and how rigged the pricing mechanisms are for those. And so literally they have to contain and control the price of silver, or else, like the game, the monetary restructuring or the monetary collapse, as we call it, or whatever. Not even the reset, 'cause I think they're going to lose control of their attempt to structurally restructure this reset. They're going to lose control of that, I believe. And so the literally game will be over for all those financial products and all those so-called instruments of wealth transferring, with the derivatives market, the bond market, the stocks, all that stuff like that. When silver takes off to $50 in US dollars and beyond, it's going to be hard to reel it back in, and it's going to go through the roof. So that being the case, $600 roughly right now can get you about 20 ounces, 20 silver eagles, give or take. So you think about the idea of being able to acquire 20 silver eagles on the government's, you can say on the taxpayers, but taxpayers, that's not going to be paid back. So literally just say on Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam is spotting you possibly 600 plus whatever to get your weight up, in a sense. And then if you want to be even a little bit more bold, and if you're aware of what's going on in the alternative realm as far as the digital assets, you could literally probably get you was about let me see, 0.025 of a Bitcoin. And the way the markets are going there, I don't see it going to zero no time soon. But anyway, enough of me rambling. Let's get back to a couple articles, man. So what I want to actually pull up here, there was somebody on Twitter that I came across who did a good job of sharing all types of tweets throughout the Twitter sphere on all the things that people in the social media realm found throughout the day, with all that pork extra added stuff in there. And so I'm going to highlight some of that. But for those just tuning in now, here's a little visual aid I came across that describes this current HR bill called the relief bill, but really it's full of foreign aid and special interest. And so let me actually pull this up here because I found this to be quite interesting as throughout the day. I'll go back to the very beginning. So I don't even know this person other than the fact we follow each other on Twitter, but been doing a good job of just highlighting some of the things in the bill. So here's something here. The stimulus bill. The government's close the economy. You lose your job. You face eviction. $600 for all your troubles. Meanwhile, they send $135 million to Burma, $8.5 million to Cambodia, $1.4 billion for the Asia Reassurance and Initiative Act, $130 million to Nepal. And so it's great when people go in there and highlight certain things so we can read it for ourselves. So on page 1465, Cambodia is getting some bread. And then we got the Indo-Pacific strategy, 1.4. So yeah, so this is the evidence here that shows what's inside those 5,000 pages were already predetermined allocation of funds that were just needing the right catalyst to be utilized. And of course, it happens to be packaged up as a relief bill. And every single person is saying that it's a relief bill for the people. So here's something here that says, don't forget Egypt. And so here's something that's interesting. Foreign military financing program. Foreign. And so that's $1.3 billion to remain available until September 30th, 2022, should be made available for the assistance of Egypt. So basically, think about this right now. Every single thing. So that's about 4 or 5 countries we've saw so far. And all those funds are allocated towards special operations as well as bribery for those countries' governments and military and all the foreign interests that we would label but our government will label as special interests or funding towards our national interest. And basically, they're literally bribing, buying, as well as further creating environments of corruption in other countries. And that's in the bill. So here's another little tidbit here of some more things that's in this bill. And so it says $25 million for Pakistan, $33 million for Venezuela. And the Venezuela one is labeled as something about aid and recovery or recovery of the Venezuelan Republic. So that $33 million go towards probably Juan Guaido and his crew and further escalation in that country and paying for all types of things that has nothing to do with relief for you and I. So 130 million in Nepal, 700 million in Sudan, all for democracy programs. So to further spread democracy is how they're all worded. Very sad. But are you surprised? Not at all. What else we got here? There's a couple more throughout the day. Here we go here. It says here, this is let me pull this up here. I think I already showed this. Yep, I already showed this one. So as you guys can see, this thing is loaded with all types of things that has nothing to do with providing relief for the American public. And so it's because of this type of information getting out that I believe that there might be pressure on a lot of politicians to vote nay for this particular bill here. Therefore, further kicking the can down the road, because I would like to see this bill not go through. I think by it not going through, disrupts their foreign agendas as far as further spreading democracy and all those things, which we know they're not spreading democracy, they're spreading death and destruction ultimately. But it will really put pressure on politicians here to have to come out of more currency for the American public, I think, ultimately, because it's going to cause that much more damage heading into 2021. And whether it's this whole political situation, of course, we still have Trump talking about fraud and all the things on the surface. We'll see what happens after January 20th. But just say, for example, Biden does come into play. He's going to come in right away, and he's going to be more than generous for the special interest and all that foreign stuff. He might be a little bit more. He might be influenced by Kamala Harris, she is a $2,000 per month while this pandemic lasts type of person. So that's probably the best way that the people will probably be over liquefied themselves is under Mr. Biden's administration, if it gets to that point. But people don't realize that anything that comes in 2021 will literally be a down payment, as even politicians are saying, towards the destruction of the Federal Reserve note, as we've noted to this point, man. So be very careful what you ask for. Juan Guaido sounds like a Puerto Rican pimp's name. Good point, man. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, I'm going to open up the phone lines in a minute because I'm curious to hear. And I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, of course. I thought this was comical. I thought this was very comical because U.S. President-elect receives the jab. And I didn't watch the video, but just the fact that he called himself stepping up before President Trump, I think is funny because he's damn near 80. And I would imagine whatever's in that vial, clearly it's water or it's empty. Either way, with the amount of science and technology that's put into those jabs for real, if it was to go into his arm, it would probably literally cause some severe adverse reactions on the spot. And I am beyond confident that due to his current health conditions, possibly, and his age, he couldn't take anything that would be considered real. So I think that's interesting that, of course, it's one of the things where we have all the politicians front running, taking this jab supposedly. Even today, looking, I think it was one of the little social media channels. We're talking about how the American people are upset. They're mad that there's only a certain amount of vaccines available, and the politicians are rushing to get in line before the American people. They should sacrifice their health for the American people. I'm thinking like, they can have it all they want, because I don't think many people are really looking forward to it. But the media is doing a good job of selling us on the special ops propaganda, making it appear like there's a shortage. But then there's not a shortage because it's going to the frontline workers. So that's selfish. What about the elderly? They should be in line before this. So yeah, all that good stuff, man. Can never trust Biden and Kamala. No doubt. At this point, man, there are not many politicians still in this game that you can trust. Like I personally, even from the Ted Cruz, the Senator Paul, and was it Representative Mooney, all those guys, they talk tough on social media, and whenever they get in front of a committee hearing, they call themselves grilling, the Zuckerberg and all those guys like that. But nothing gets done. Like, what they play that hardball, like they care and they're concerned, but they yet to unwind or unravel any one of these companies. Like with this whole Facebook antitrust situation, as well as Google now facing some lawsuits. All that stuff is going to be drawn out, and nothing will be done in the next 30 days where it matters, because everything is about exposing the amount of fraud and all this stuff happening with the voting machines and stuff like that. Those are the things that need to come out right now, because if it's not for alternative media, majority of the population has no clue. And a lot of the population may not even want to believe it. Like, I actually had a conversation with a gentleman who, a good friend of mine, he's a strong leaning left individual. And we almost, it wasn't a tough conversation, but to hear his perspective really opened my eyes as to how severely distorted a lot of our paradigms are in reference to our own political affiliations from our past. And so this gentleman here was basically telling me everything from his perspective, saying that he's been watching all the conservative news sources to validate his purposes. He is saying Republicans are divisive. He is like, the right, are a bunch of wealthy, well-off individuals. And even he himself, he's well off to where he's been taking advantage of all the opportunities. But he's saying everything like, I'm just thinking like, wow, like he really believes that. So I'm thinking like the mainstream media has done a great job of formulating our viewpoints on politics to the point where we literally, it's become very divisive, man, to where it was ugly. It was an ugly conversation, but it was peaceful because that's my guy. So, but anyway, so let me start ranting a little bit, get into some of the phone calls. And also curious to get your guys' thoughts on that new strand that's being pushed out there, or what's the likelihood of that new strand actually being something called the flu that they're trying to use as a way of creating more fear. But anyway, let's talk. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, Mike, how you doing? Steve, Fever Region 9.
Steve, Fever Region 9. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing good. You got it nailed down tonight, bro. You got it nailed down. It's nailed down.
Appreciate it, man. What's going on in California, man? What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, I'll put it this way. I drove up to Bodega Bay just to relax.
Mm-hmm.
I drove up to Bodega Bay yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Everything was still open there, and it was nice. I'll send you some photos afterwards.
Okay, good deal.
but yeah, it was nice and all the rest of that. But Governor Newsom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't even call him Newsom. I just call him Governor Newsom.
Yeah.
And his girl, Chameleon Harris.
Yeah.
yeah, Chameleon Harris.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if other people know that the other guy that they're bringing in, or if it goes through.
Yeah.
The other guy that they will bring in for the Health and Human Services
mm-hmm.
is another California guy. I forgot what his name is right offhand.
Yeah, California is being represented. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, he's another California guy, and you might as well just shake your head and go, it's a wrap if they do this.
Yeah. So it looks like California is being represented well out there in the White House.
It's disgusting to me that this is taking place.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and what can you do?
Yeah, man. Well, hey, it is what it is, man. Good news, man. It's the holiday season, man. It's Christmas, man. It's a lot of things to be thankful for, and so yeah.
yeah, $600.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure a bunch of people are clapping at this point, going, "Really?
Yeah, man.
Really?
Yeah. I guess that's the best they can do for now."
What? Yeah. While they gave all the money to their boys.
Yeah.
On Wall Street.
100%. And I think about this: all the PP funds and all those things is within the bill, just on the surface, is going right into the bank's hands. At the time, the banks are having issues. It's hard to hide some of the banking issues right now, and so the banks are literally getting a fresh round of funds in the form of PPP because they're the ones that delegate who gets it. And so, yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. So literally, the funds are literally to provide liquidity for the banks directly. because everything goes directly into our deposits or whatnot at the banks.
Hey, absolutely. They PP'd on us. That's what they did. They PP'd on all of us.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it will come back to this eventually.
Yeah.
And this is what people are gonna have to realize.
Yeah. Good point, man. Well, hey, Steve, don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, finish up and get a couple more people in. Go ahead.
Yeah. That thing, that entity, that thing, known as Satan, is a physical being.
Yeah.
He exists, and he's the one that's been, for right now, been given permission to run the world. And until people recognize that, they're going to be hoodwinked, bamboozled, all the things that Malcolm said or whatever.
Very true. Amen.
It is what it is.
Yep.
Jesus is the only way out of that, and I'll cut it right there.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling.
All right, bro.
Yeah, man. Hello, Carlos. Where are you calling from?
Hey, Mike, how's it going? This is Charles calling out of Atlanta.
Charles, how you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Hey, pretty good. Yourself?
What's going on with you? What's happening in your neck of the woods?
I wanted to see if you read the article that came out from Forbes.com on Saturday where Trump asked advisors if he could use the military to take over the election.
Oh, no. Let me see. So, okay. Give me that one. So on Forbes over the weekend. Give it to me.
Trump asked advisors if he could use the military to take over the election.
Let me see. So I'm trying to type it in with one hand. Military. I did not see that, but go ahead and share some light on it for us.
It was basically he asked advisors if the Supreme Court doesn't listen to what he has to say and everyone else, he's going to use the military to basically seize the election process and kill it. Have the military come in and actually recount the ballots themselves.
So that's new to me. So I wonder within what time frame is this after January 6th? If Pence decides to stab him in the back one time or what? I'm curious. What do you think? Does it give a time frame? Anything?
Well, January 5th obviously is the deadline.
Yeah.
January 20th is the ultimate deadline.
Yeah.
He didn't give any details, obviously, because it's a public article, so that's kind of like giving your opponent your plan.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to happen when people are probably the most distracted, maybe New Year's Eve-ish, give or take, right around that time frame.
Interesting. And so I wonder, how does this okay, we had that whole hack situation. Of course, Trump, over the weekend downplayed, the narrative of Russia. He downplayed Russia and tried to diffuse that by making it seem like it wasn't that big of a deal. So I wonder, I've heard somebody mention that just the idea of them throwing out a cyber attack at this current moment was like a warning sign that, hey, if you go that route, we're going to go this route to where, the power going to go off type of thing, or the internet going to go down or something of that magnitude. So the people won't know if you decide to pull one of those cards. So yeah, that could be an interesting chain of events that could occur, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about I wouldn't say the all out fallout scenario, but we're talking about something that's going to be relatively close to it, because what are Americans going to do right now when they are the most antisocial, but yet the most socialized based upon our devices and our technology when all that goes down?
Yeah. So that's going to be, that's spelling that's more trouble on top of what we're already experiencing, man. And on top of that, especially up here in Michigan where, it's cold as ever, like that activity is already limited in of itself because there's not much going on outdoors. So you factor in, that means grocery stores, restaurants, all those activities, places where we need to survive will be closed as well. So that's that Mad Max type of scenario that people are always warned about.
Yes.
But
nobody wants to take the vaccine either. So you add all that stuff in there. And also too, did you see the article where the National Guard, I saw it on Dabu 7, the National Guard landed somewhere, and they're going to all the outlying counties, and they have the directive to actually vaccinate people on site. I believe it's in Tennessee.
Okay, see, that's something new, fresh right there. I did not see that one. Let me go ahead and find out. So I pulled up the article. You referenced it first. So let me see. So Was there? So was this? Let me see. So Tennessee National Guard. Let me pull this up here. This is some good stuff here. National Guard. Let me see what pops up. Anything worthwhile pops up. Let me see. Prepares to send National Guard to hospital. So I see something about. So this is what the mainstream media wants to say. It says Tennessee prepares to send National Guards to hospitals, and so what we're this is as of December 5th. So this is probably how you actually deploy them, with the narrative that they're going to the hospitals, but then they'll venture out from the hospitals into communities, as you just mentioned. So, man, this is yeah. So I think I saw this because I want to say there's some other states that's doing the same thing. So, yeah, man, this is things are ramping up mighty fast. It looks like before the end of the year.
It's about to get real, and I don't think hear about how unprepared Americans are.
Yeah.
But I think now with the only $1,200 they gave pretty much most Americans, and then they made them wait until now, right around Christmas season, Thanksgiving, where people are pretty much tapped out.
Yeah.
And give them $600 lifeline and say, here, buy your gold, buy your silver, buy your food, buy your water, prepare yourself with $600 because this is what's coming.
Yeah. Hey, good points, man. Thank you for bringing those articles to the forefront. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, man, that's good stuff. Appreciate that. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? This is Miles from NY.
Miles from NY. Give me some good news out of NY, man.
Man, it's crazy out here, but we're making it. We're doing what we got to do. I'm just stocking up on food and essentials. Anything solar power, food, water. You know how I go.
Yeah.
But, hey, Mike, I want to get your take on it, man, because I think I got it down to as though why they've been giving people so little portion of the pie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's because not that they don't necessarily want to, but they can't. If you think about it, what's going to happen if you put that much funds in the hands of the average person? They're going to put that into circulation, and I think that's going to lead to inflation. And that's the very thing they've been trying to fight off.
Yeah.
So I think they've been trying to hold back until they got everything in place in order to roll out that UBI and all the rest of that stuff. So as though it won't force a collapse that they can't control.
Yeah.
So I think they've been intentionally starving people for that purpose because they don't want inflation. They don't want the fast volume and that much currency flooding into the market because you would see it. If everybody's walking around with $6,000 in their pocket,
yeah,
what's going to happen when you go to the store?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, Mike?
Yeah, good point.
And you can't hide that. That's apparent. And I think they kind of figured out ahead of time, say, look, these people are behind on their bills. They just lost everything. When they go, they're going to buy everything up. And the first thing you're going to see is where? Food. And once that food get low and they're talking about you going to get 1-2 packs of meat and the meat's $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for, to feed a family of 4,
yeah.
It's going to be some problems. But hey, just keep up the good work, Mike, man. One love,
Appreciate
man.
You, man.
And, stay strong.
All
right,
man. Thanks for calling. Yeah, man, that's a great point. That is a great point. And so, on top of the inflation aspect, I believe that is true. But also, you got to realize that in giving what we consider too much funds, what that also does is it positions people in a much more sustainable way of life, to where most people will save that. So most of those funds will go into the bank. Some may pay off debt. Majority of the younger population will spend it, frivolously. But on top of that, it provides too much of a cushion. The goal right now is not to provide a cushion. It's basically to just dangle a carrot in front of you to keep you going forward, keep you in distress, keep you in need. So they don't want to provide actual aid to help anybody, because if they wanted to, the best way to do it would be to give the people directly a larger portion of the pie and minimize the portion going to corporations and let the people choose who they're going to spend on. Because if you start giving people $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, there's gonna be some traveling, there's gonna be a lot of shopping, a lot of spending. That will definitely get the economy going a lot faster than what they're trying to so-called get it going at. But once again, the goal is to keep the people dependent, not to save any lives. The goal is not to make you more comfortable or even anywhere near whole as you're losing every single thing as they want you to do. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh, this is Pat from Alabama. How you doing, Mike?
Mr. Pat from Alabama, doing good, my friend. How you doing?
Doing fine. I feel rather insulted that they're offering $600 when they gave us $1,200 at the first of the year.
All right. And so think about this. At the current trend, if this goes through, which there's a chance that it might not go through. So we'll see. So it was 12,600.
I hope it doesn't.
And then by March, if Biden, if he gets in and Biden is generous, he might give you 300. So look at it, it'd be like 2,100 in the last year, basically what it equate to. So, but yeah.
Yeah. Think about this.
Yeah.
The dollar fell below 90 cents.
Yeah.
I mean, 90.
Yeah.
This week, it fell down to 89, 90 something.
Mm-hmm.
But think of what it's going to do next when they give out the $600. And I got an answer for you on the Egyptian-Israeli giveaway in that package. Mm-hmm. There's a little known thing in the government called the 7-5 rule that was negotiated by Jimmy Carter, who said that Israel got $7 to every $5 that Egypt got. So you might, if you want to see some big numbers, look up Israel.
Yeah.
So that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
That we give that. But I just see inflation coming. You know, if they go with UBI, which I'm fully expecting, if you, like the gentleman said before me, if you got $6,000 in your pocket, the store's going to want it.
Yeah. Yeah,
you don't need it.
Yeah. and more people will be more than willing to give it up. And so, and that's where I was mentioning earlier today, you know, with giving $600 or whatever else, you know, that literally right now is 20 ounces, it's 20 silver eagles. It's 20 silver eagles, give or take. And imagine what it's going to do to the demand in silver, because a lot of people will actually spend that, whether it be crypto, silver, or whatever else. A lot of that will drive the demand of those metals up as well as cryptos up. So those assets there will definitely experience some inflation as well.
There's another metal that's going to go up.
Say again?
That we need to partake of. It's called brass.
Yeah. Very true, man.
I'm spending my money on brass.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something else. I may be in Washington, D.C. come January 6th.
You know what? I was thinking about doing the same thing just because this is a historical moment. And it's been a long time. I went to the Million Man March when I was a kid. And I was there for that Million Man. And I experienced that. And it was something else. So I'm long overdue for some type of rally of that sort. So I might do that myself. Man, I might have to meet you there. Might put together an RTD rally there or something.
You'll notice me. I'll be on the sideline, and I'll be willing to cut you in on a share. But I'm going to buy Chinese pitchforks to sell at the rally. Listen, most of these people have taken Chinese money.
Yeah.
Nothing more appropriate than a Chinese pitchfork.
Hey, man, Pat, I appreciate you, my man. Let me get a couple more calls in. But I thanks for putting that idea in my head.
Have fun.
Be good.
Bye.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Yeah. So I was thinking about that. I think it'll be great to go down and experience a Trump. I've never been to any of those political rallies before. First time for everything. So I might just do that. Anybody out there watching it, going or anything like that, let me know. We might have to link up. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, man? It's Jimmy from Baltimore.
Jimmy from Baltimore. What's up, my man?
Look, this is what I was thinking about.
Okay.
Like, what we're seeing is the fall of an empire.
Okay, no doubt.
So when the empire is falling, they have to have everybody that's a part of the empire distracted.
Mm-hmm.
You got the currency sector. You got gold and silver. You got the virus. You got the Trump. People believing that Trump gonna save stuff. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But it's a fall of an empire. Yeah. All of us all the people that stack precious metals or cryptocurrency, what if these are actually tools that will be used in the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of us, we see a lot of the wrongs that's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And we choose to use these assets, in my opinion, because we want some type of freedom or some type of justice. You know, some people just want to get rich, but what if this empire is falling? And in my opinion, God's people, what if he actually transfers the wealth? And what if we have some good times where we can help the homeless? And, you know what I mean? Like the things that we actually know are important in building God's kingdom, if that makes sense.
Right. That makes 100%. That makes great sense. And I'm still optimistic in the fact that through this, God will get the glory, and that, you know, there will be, his people always seem to make it through. Like, he makes sure that he makes a way for his people to survive turmoil such as what we're experiencing. Like, literally, it can be the equivalent of a famine coming across the land, but God's people always eat. So he will provide. That's why I'm more than confident that regardless of what happens around me, I'm not going to be amongst those that are begging for bread, you know what I'm saying, type of thing. So that's just my personal belief there.
And one last thing to add, it's like, of course, we all understand, at least I do, these material things, they really mean nothing. You know what I mean? It's about character. It's about love. It's about generosity, helping one another out. So we all know, well, I believe I know how it ends. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I believe that this fall of this empire, this is actually how it begins, if that makes sense. Yeah, it does. The righteousness actually being shown us, you know, us being used as a light, you know, for other people to see. So, man, but just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Appreciate you, my man. Good stuff. Yeah, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Appreciate the calls and the words of encouragement. Definitely, man. Like, these are, definitely, I'm sure everybody now, believer or not, can realize that these are biblical times. These are times where, nothing that we're experiencing now is new to man. It's just new to us, especially here in the U.S., because we've been so blessed and privileged up until this point where things are changing, but it's not changing for everybody. And the thing, and what's changing is not also, it's also one of those things where it's going to be a lot of opportunity and blessing for a lot of people that are aware of what's going on. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Dion, and I'm calling from Alabama.
Dion from Alabama. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, very well. Listen, 2 points. I 2 questions, actually, I want to ask you.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm from California originally. I've only been in Alabama for 3 months. Okay. And the reason why I moved here was because I was getting scared of everything happening in California with the wildfires. Yeah. And then with the shutdowns. Plus everything I've been following, I said, okay, it's on. It's game on, like you were saying. Yeah. My first question, why do you think they're using California as almost like the guinea pig for the nation? Like the property real estate is dropping out there. Yeah. The businesses are being shut down, and that's a powerhouse of an economy. Why do you suppose they're doing that?
Two first thing come to mind, or 2 responses come to mind, is the land itself, the hills, that region is very rich in natural resources. And I believe with all those fires and whatnot, there's also a provision. Yeah. There's also a little provision in the HR bill that says that, something about fires and them and the governor's not being able to actually put them out and stuff like that, or something like that. So they want California to burn down, because they want to get the people off the land so they can probably nationalize the land. So the goal will probably bring a good portion of those lands into the government's possession outright for whatever reason. And then B, I think also in this next world order of events, I think California will probably actually be sold or auctioned off or given to China as a part of this debt that, because China's just not going to take a loss on $3+ trillion or whatever else in debt. They're going to want to actually own some land over here. So I can imagine California being sold off. Possibly. I don't know how that'll work out, but I think once the Constitution is completely dismantled under this next administration or 2, they're going to make that possible. So destroy it now, get everybody out of there. It makes it easier to sell it, nationalize it, and give it away if need be. So that's just my opinion. Let me know. Let me know in the chat what you guys think. But
wow, thank you for that, because I've not been able to get any kind of direction on that. And thank you. That's the best answer. I mean, really, it makes sense in my logical mind. Again, that's why I left. I'm no fool. I can look and see where the smoke is coming from and get out of there. Yeah. And so my second question for you, thank you so much for your time.
No problem. Thank you for calling.
I'm having a very hard time finding any type of spiritual leader who's willing to talk about even a tenth of what you discuss. And I'm wondering, is there anybody that you follow who's, you know, a pastor, a religious person who does shed any kind of light on any of this?
I
Because
personally,
they're not talking about anything except regurgitating the same old scripture.
Yeah. So that is a great question and a great point that I personally, like, you know, my own pastor, he's relatively young. Over the last couple of months, I've had some problems with his message because I know that he knows more than what he's telling us, but he's solely sticking with scripture and not really leading the sheep overall. So I've had some issues with that myself. I have not like really reached out and to look online and find anybody because ultimately the word is the anchor. And so utilizing the word as a guide and as our, you know, structure to stand on is one thing. But I think it's always good to be able to relate the word to relevant times and then give people inside information on how to make decisions based upon today's environment. You know, so I've had problems with that myself. So I will definitely put that out there to the community because I know there's some people called in before mentioning some pastors out there that I should have on a show, of which I reached out to one or two of them. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but they're out there. So I definitely would love to interview them. And I have reached out to people, but haven't heard back yet. So I will definitely keep that question on the forefront of my mind, but I don't have anybody that I can recommend right now that is definitely touching on these events.
Yeah, I have to say, because I go to scripture too and all of that. I get that, seek knowledge yourself and show thyself approved. I get that. But man, these are uncharted, territories. And I really crave somebody who's really deep in it that can kind of like walk us through this.
Yeah.
We've never been through anything like this.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
And in this country or in the world.
And so another thing is you referenced, you mentioned, I'm sure you didn't mean it that way, but you said you crave somebody. And so ultimately the Holy Spirit. And so these are times where also it's probably even more to our advantage to tap into the Holy Spirit, spending more time praying in the Spirit and things of that nature. And of course, God will definitely direct you to whoever he feels can help guide you. But all you need is the Holy Spirit and the word itself. And so those two is what you need. And anybody else on top of that should basically confirm what the Spirit has already revealed to you. So you clearly know what's going on. Now it's just a matter of trying to link up with other like-minded individuals. Is probably in a community environment is what you're probably referring to, I believe. So
yes, that's what I want. I haven't been able to find that.
Yeah.
Even in Alabama, I'm surprised. They just keep talking about, all the things they taught 10 years ago. I mean, it was like, it's as if we're in a time warp, man. That they just haven't progressed.
Yeah. So just looking in the chat right here, somebody said Pastor J.D. Farage is an excellent, or Pastor Dow. So those are two individuals. I would say Google those individuals and see, if their message relates to your spirit and go from there. So appreciate the call, and I'll definitely keep my ears open for that one. Thank you for the call.
All right, take care.
Yeah,
okay,
you too.
Bye-bye.
Great call, great questions, man. Yeah, so California is being used as a weapon. It's being used as a weapon against the people. The goal is they want to get you up out of there. That's why they're raising taxes. You get the billionaires out of there. Those are the primary, tax people who pay the most taxes. You get them up out of there. It makes it easier. Whoa, what I got here? What is this? I'm getting a call from somewhere. Anyway, so got a couple more calls. We'll get ready to dial back. But just my 2 cents there. I also appreciate the community for sharing pastors. We got Dr. Lee Warren. And so, Wendell, I reached out to Pastor Warren, Dr. Warren. I ain't heard back from him. So I've reached out. So if you are a member of his church or have access to him directly, feel free to, mention the show and see if he'll be willing to connect or just, reply to my email. Hello, caller. Which name are you calling from?
Hey, Michael. It's Felix in Santa Monica, California.
Felix, how you doing, my friend?
It's great to hear your encouragement. You're talking to the people. They need to hear it.
Definitely.
It's going down.
Yes, it is, man.
The only thing we can really trust, you said real clear, the only thing we can trust is when we ask, he will give us what we need.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%, man.
And that's bottom line. If we're asking with all earnest and being right with him on a moment by moment basis, he's not going to forsake us. He's going to tell us what to do.
Very true. Very true. I'm in agreement with that.
And I think if we remember that when two or more are gathered, he isn't with us right now. In fact, I'm even feeling the presence of the Lord right now. It's like we need to reach out to each other and really not talk about the circumstances much, maybe, but start to do battle through prayer.
Right.
And that's all I wanted to say.
Hey, appreciate you, my man. Yeah, I'm in agreement on that one, my friend. So yeah, definitely, Lord is in the building with us, and I appreciate you. All righty, man. Let's keep it moving. Let me get a couple more calls in here. Let me see. Oops, sorry about that. Appreciate the call, my friend. I will never leave or forsake you. 100%. My governor wants Californians to stay there. You're a governor, so that means you're probably a bordering state or something like that. That's why your governor wants Californians to stay there. Let me see here. Let me get some. Yeah. All right, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike, Tony from Oakland. How you doing,
brother? TB. I'm doing good, my friend. What's up with you?
Oh, not too bad, man. I think I owed a community apology because I said there wasn't going to be a check.
When was this? When?
I said they wasn't going to get a check for $600, and it looks like they trying to push something through.
Yeah.
I noticed when the DXY fell beyond the 90 bound, and was hitting at 89, everybody started getting nervous. So I'm not sure if that's the reason why or not, but it looks like they're going to try to push this thing through.
Yeah.
Another thing, I would challenge anybody to show me where the inflation is coming in at. That's the reason why I'm calling in.
Now watch this. Okay, so when it comes to the deflation and inflation, we've had these discussions before, and they're great, of course. Now, depending on where you're looking at, so would you agree that the stock market, with 30,000 or whatever, is an indicator of inflation in and of itself?
No, that's an indication of they've got things so locked up that's the only place people can put money.
Real estate the same way?
What's that?
I said real estate as well.
Real estate as well.
So with there being certain assets that have been used as financial tools or whatever, the prices of those assets over the last several years, aka decade plus, have all risen exponentially higher than other assets that also should have, if it was evenly spread across the board, should have gone up as well. But given that wasn't the case, I think a lot of people attribute the inflation aspect towards certain asset classes that has gone through the roof. Now, I think when a lot of people call in, they talk about inflation from the consumer goods standpoint, like your grocery store. Of course, your food's going up, your gas is going up. So those have experienced a higher increase in prices.
Yeah, but when we look at inflation from the government, we can't look at inflation from the government from our eyes or our perspective. We need to look at it from their perspective.
Yeah,
because their perspective is the bond market.
Yeah,
and that's how they move their money.
Yeah,
if they're sitting on the bond market and it ain't going nowhere, and we just printed $7 trillion.
Yeah,
and the bond market ain't moved yet.
Yeah.
You'll never see any inflation because you've got 30 million people that are unemployed right now.
Yeah.
You got another 20 some odd million that's going to be out of a home that ain't going to be spending money. So it's easy to give you that $600. The last stimulus, that everybody took the 70% of that money and either paid off rent or paid down rent and saved the money because they've got you so scared that you don't know what shoe's going to drop next. So you ain't going to go out and spend that money and buy you a PlayStation, Xbox. You're just not going to do it. So they've got you right where they want you.
Yeah. Now watch this. Even the very calculation in the way they measure inflation, it will never reach, like the fact they're trying to move it to average target now lets me know that as long as they're calculating it the way they do calculate it, they'll never reach it, but we're going to experience it. We're going to feel it as far as our ability to acquire less goods over time type of inflation. So using the government's measurements, of course not. But as far as what you can actually purchase out of what you got in your pocket will be another issue.
Well, I thought the same thing, man, but it's a force-fed issue. I talked to a guy who delivered the bread at the grocery store. I was like, man, you believe this? He's like, yeah, I don't understand it either. He's like, we got bread sitting there at the shop, and we was told to cut back 30% over every store. The government is forcing that issue. They want the inflation, but they can't get it. It's like a bucket of water. You got holes all in it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you got holes all in it, and you keep pouring water in it.
Yeah.
You ever gonna fill that bucket up?
Never. Never.
That's our problem that we're faced with because we keep pouring more water, and bring the truck up. And we're putting the truck in the bucket, and that bucket ain't filling up. We just can't print enough money.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. They shut the whole. That's what we do best. We print money.
Yeah.
Why ain't we printing money?
Yeah.
We print money and giving it to central banks. Okay, that's fine and dandy. $7 trillion. That's fine and dandy. But where's the inflation? There is none.
Yeah.
Because you stop the inflation. You cut it off, and you will never get it back until this dollar gets exchanged for something else. That's why they're trying to rush to the digital currency. And I'm afraid I did read that they tried it last year and they were supposed to come up with something, and whoever it was that was coming up with it, it had a glitch in it. And that's the thing about these digital currencies, the codes on them have glitches in them.
Yeah.
And every once in a while they'll get all messed up, and then next thing you know, it's down to a penny. But they've got Bitcoin. They running that.
Yeah.
But they got Bitcoin, and I did hear where Bitcoin was going on the exchange come next year. So I'm waiting to see if that shoe drops.
Yeah.
But my thing is that's why they're pushing this digital currency, and people who think that Bitcoin's the end all be all really need to look at their Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is basically I heard Bitcoin should be 400,000. I bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin and it's 400,000. Do I have $400,000?
Not yet, but hey, watch this. When all that currency that you're expecting to be put out there actually hits, and on top of that, when it comes to Bitcoin, it's just not the dollar that's racing for a place to hide. You got the euros, the pound, all of the other currencies as well. So they're all going to be racing into assets of that class. So I'm more than confident.
Chose to go digital on their own currency, if you notice that.
Say again?
Everybody chose to go digital because I think that's what's going to happen. The U.S. is going to try to push out the digital Bitcoin or whatever you want to call it, Fed coin or whatever it is. And it doesn't have any backing. And that there's been plenty of people out there say there's going to be 2 resets. Hunter, not Greg Hunter, but the other one. He said there's going to be 2 resets, and he said the first one, it ain't going to fly.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking this is the one that they're trying to push out there, but until you back it with God's currency, as you guys call it,
yeah,
it's not gonna make a hell of billions. You can have billions of it, and if they decide that they can't keep this system afloat, it's worth nothing.
Yeah.
Throw it in the ground, burn it.
Well, we will see. But in the meantime, this 600, my friend, if it does come out there, you're going to have a lot of pissed off people, but a lot of people who are going to use that 600 to at least get them 20 ounces of Silver Eagles at least. So, yeah, it's going to be
There's only 1% of the population that know about gold and silver, man. What makes you think everybody's going to wake up to it when they got Bitcoin going at 20,000, 23,000? Everybody wants a piece of that nugget.
Yeah.
When in reality, you know what the real nugget is.
Yeah. Hey, man, I appreciate you, my friend. Good to hear from you. Yeah, be good. Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, man. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Good way to appreciate the going back and forth. Let's let me see one more call here. Do I have it? I do not. So anyway, about to get ready to dial back. Wanted to check in a little bit earlier tonight and share my 2 cents on what's going on out there. But as of now, we'll see if that bill passes. But I'm of the mindset that there's a chance that it might not pass. I wouldn't be surprised if it did not pass, which would basically lead to more chaos in the markets, which could be a good thing for those that have been sitting patiently waiting on with metals, as well as those in the digital asset space, because that will definitely create a ripple effect into the foreign markets, as well as our foreign investors and all our creditors. And therefore, they're going to respond, and we'll see how this thing goes, man. But anyway, with that being the case, getting ready to dial back. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with me tonight. Looking to do it again tomorrow night, Lord willing. And everybody have a blessed week and enjoy the rest of the night. Peace. Hey there, sorry for this interruption, but I wanted to bring something to your attention. If you've been enjoying this live stream, why don't you partner with me and be a support to the channel via Patreon membership for just a minimum of $5 a month. All you have to do is scroll down beneath this video here, click the Patreon link, then consider donating as little as $5 a month toward the channel. A little bit of crumbs can go a long way, and I appreciate your support. Now, let's get back to this live stream.